Hey everyone, Robbie the Painter here. Welcome back to the channel. Glad you're here. Today we're going to do a little tutorial on how I do a mountain, or how I like to do a mountain. I've tried the Bob Ross way, where you've got your palette knife and you know, very easily do that, and it looks like I'm frosting a cake. I don't get that break, and I never know what I'm doing wrong. So I'm going to show you how I do a simple mountain, see if it works for you guys. There's a lot of ways to do a mountain, but I'm going to show you what I do, and we're only going to use two colors. We're going to use Payne's Gray and white. It's going to be black and white on a white canvas. I don't even think I'm going to put a sky on this. We're just going to do a mountain, okay? Maybe two. And so let's get started. We're going to be using odorless mineral spirits as well to thin the paint. There's no liquid white on here. It's a dry canvas. And let's get started. So I think today we're going to use two brushes. We're going to use a 3/4 inch flat brush and a liner brush. I think that's all we're going to use. Let's dip into a little bit of thinner. Grab our paint palette with our Payne's Gray and our titanium white. In fact, let's grab a little Payne's Gray and let's come over here and grab a little, mix it into the titanium white. So we've got a gray color right here. Let's do a distant mountain. Let's do a close-up mountain. So a distant mountain, we're going to use a lighter color because it's in the distance. So let's take our flat brush, start over here, start coming to the right. Let's go up a little bit and down and up and down. You can do anything you want on this. You don't have to follow what I'm doing. Maybe it goes up again and down and up and over, and it fades out over there. Okay? Let's just take our brush and fill this, all this. Don't mess with the top of this, our mountain, that line at the top. We're not going to mess with that. Let's just fill in this at the bottom. And we're just going back and forth. Back and forth. Okay, we stand back. You guys see that? I don't know that we need to do anything to that. That looks like a distant mountain. If I put, you know, trees in front of that, I'm just scrubbing in something to show you. If I put something in front of that, it pushes that mountain back. We've got a distant mountain. If we want to lighten up a little bit of that mountain, make it even lighter than it already is, I just washed off my flat brush, and that we could take and come up here to the peak and come down and do that. Anywhere that you want something light, and then wipe it off. I should go over to my liner brush. But this paint is still wet, and you can move it around any way you want. I think we're going to leave it alone because it looks like we don't need a lot of detail. We don't need a lot of detail on that mountain. If it's distant, less detail. That's, you know, the rule of thumb. The farther something is away, the less detail there's going to be on it. So we're going to leave that distant mountain alone. As we get closer, a mountain will get darker, whether it's your browns, your blacks. You could, you know, I mean, you could do a mountain any color you want. It's your painting, so you can do it however you want. But we're going to be using the Payne's Gray, and we're going to make it a little darker. That means it's a little closer to us. Same thing, flat brush. Let's come over here. Let's come up. Get a little more thinner on that. Go into our Payne's Gray. Straight Payne's gray this time, no white. Load up both sides. All right, we're gonna lay it on the canvas and go up and down and up and over and any shape that we want for our mountain. And over there, and it goes off there and that. Okay? Grab a little more color, and let's come up here and start pulling and filling in. Actually, we could do like we did up there and just kind of scrub it. Let's say you don't know how to draw at all. Well, you can scrub, right? Let's do that. We're not drawing. Let's scrub. Scrub it back and forth. Maybe up and down. Let's go that way. Just gonna scrub it. Let's make a hot mess. And see if we can fix it. All right, we stand back. I don't know, our hot mess kind of looks like a mountain range, right? I mean, look at that. It's not that bad as it is. Let's hold on to the flat brush. I'm gonna go back in. We're gonna do, let's say we're doing a close-up of this peak here. Let's draw a close-up. Let's make that big. And grab some thinner. Let's take that peak right there. We know it goes up and down. Okay, got too much thinner. All right, there's a close-up, as if we zoomed in with our camera just on that peak. The reason I made that little part that big is I want to show you. Different parts of your mountain are going to be lighter. Which parts are going to be lighter? The parts that are sticking up. Anything in a valley is going to be a little darker. So let's grab a paper towel. What I'm going to show you is what parts are light and what parts are dark. And it changes all the time, but you can figure out on your mountain, anywhere that it's light is a peak. So if we come up here with our paper towel and we press against this mountain and we do that, can you guys see that? We just took the paper towel and we wiped off some of the paint. That tells us that that part is the highest. It's a peak. It's getting more sun. Now, if we do that to the whole top of this mountain, that means there. Now that whole top's getting sunlight. If we take our paper towel and do that, see what we're doing? You can create peaks and valleys just by manipulating the paint, taking some of it off and leaving some of it on. Okay, that's one way of I said this is going to be a simple way. I'm actually showing you now a couple of ways you can do a mountain. Taking it off with a paper towel like that, taking some of the paint off. And we may not need to do any more. That I would leave that like that. That's not a bad looking mountain. And we could put a whole painting right around that mountain. Let's go back up to the other one, because here's where we're going to use the liner brush on this one here. And this is the way I like to do my mountains, as opposed to using the palette knife and the Bob Ross method. I can't do that. So let's take our, actually, before we get into the liner brush, do you guys have a round brush? I think we're gonna use 3 brushes. This is the round brush. Let's go into some titanium white with our round brush. And just like we took off paint here, we're going to do that same thing, but we're going to add white. Instead of wiping off and making white a light area, let's add white and make a light area. Like that. Grab some more white. Let's see. There. We're making peaks right now. We're making the highlighted areas. Let's see, where does that go? All right, we did that one there. Let's bring it off this way. We're just going to put some highlighted areas. And they don't have to be all straight down. They don't have to be straight from the top of the peak. Experiment. Put a little highlight in and that. All we're doing is roughing in some light areas, okay? We're just roughing in some light areas. It tells us there's a peak there. If you want to make the top of your mountain all white, let's say it's snow time or whatever, we can make this top lighter. Okay, it's already starting to look cooler because we're adding some light. Let's put this little round brush down. Let's grab the liner brush. Again, we're only using black and white, but you could use colors. You could use a dark brown or mix up something really cool, but you want to start with a dark. At least I do. And then I always add my lights, my highlights. So now we've got kind of a general highlight area. We're gonna take one of these highlight marks that we made, and we're gonna come up here with our liner brush with some white on it and make some little fingers, little lines off of each side. Just for some detail. And they can squiggle, and you don't need any drawing ability for this. We're putting our liner brush right in the middle of that highlighted area we put on with that round brush. Now we're going to make smaller lines off of that line. So we come in here, put our brush right down in the middle of that titanium white we put down earlier, and we come down off of each side. And we squiggle back and forth. We come off of it there and there. Let's come over here to this one. Where's our highlight line that we just kind of roughed in? Well, there it is. It starts up here at this peak and comes down. I'm going to put this liner brush on that highlight line and come off. Make some little squigglies. They go off in that direction, they go there, they branch out. And we just go along. Every one of those bigger highlight lines that we put down originally with the round brush, we're going to go over every one of those now with a liner brush and add some little detail. I hope that makes sense to you guys. I feel like I'm having trouble explaining it, but we're just adding in some detail. Using a liner brush. And I'm not using any drawing talent to do that. I'm just putting lines and squiggling them right off of those main highlight lines that we put in. So coming off of this one here, And I'm not going into any thinner. I'm just going into straight titanium white with my liner brush. I could go into some thinner, but it's working. It's working without the thinner. And then just maybe some lines over here. Okay, then we stand back. I like it. I don't know about you guys. That's a pretty cool mountain. What artistic talent did we use to create that? Other than we made a shape using black or Payne's Gray. We took a little bit bigger brush than a liner brush, a round brush, dipped into titanium white, a little bit of thinner, and we put some bigger lines where we thought the peaks were going to be. And you know what? It's our painting, so we decide where the peaks are and that. So we put those big lines. We went to our third brush, which is our liner brush. Let me back this out a little more. Went to our liner brush, and we came up here and just went off of that on each side. Just made some marks. I think it turned out really good. Where's our flat brush? Missed that up. And again, this is a dry canvas. There's hardly any paint on this brush. But there's a mountain range, and it's got some lights, some darks, some valleys, some peaks. And we know the peaks. Why? Because they're white or they're lighter. How do we know the valleys? Because they're dark. Light and dark. Okay? We're going to end there. We did a distant mountain. We did a close-up and we did a medium here. This close-up was to show you what we were going to be doing up here and how those peaks come about. Light and dark, you know, your valleys and your peaks. You guys can do this. We didn't do any drawing. I mean, we were just making marks and making shapes, and I know you guys can do this. So I hope you learned something. Little quick mountain tutorial on how I do mountains. It just seems to work for me, and they turn out fairly well. And then you can add color to that. We could put green up to the edge of these and make rolling hills. I mean, we didn't do a painting here, but that scene looks pretty cool right there. I kind of like that. Maybe I'll do something with that after I leave you guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. You could be anywhere and you're hanging out listening to me ramble and that, but hopefully you'll learn something about how you can do a mountain. Mountains are kind of scary. I was scared of them and I found a way that it's hard for me to make a mistake doing it this way. Trust me, you guys watch this again, make your, put your dark, make some light marks with a bigger brush, round brush, go back with the liner brush, make some detailed marks that kind of finger off, and send me pictures. I guarantee you guys are gonna be able to do something like this, and it's not gonna be as hard as you think. Thank you guys so much. I will see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.